Wake up, Atlanta. It's time for coffee. Talk presented by Spotify. Fresh vibes, real talk.
Let's get started, shall we?
Yeah.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another exciting episode, another exciting podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, boy, howdy, we back. Welcome to Coffee Talk, powered and presented by Spotify. Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta say, welcome back to the show, welcome back to K.L.P. Entertainment Filmworks, and welcome back my cast and crew fully for the show of Coffee Talk, powered and presented by Spotify. This is Coffee Talk in the morning, by the way. Good morning, Atlanta. It is a wonderful Tuesday. Ladies and gentlemen, the week has begun, and, we're in the mix of July. And I just got to say, it's getting quite hot. I got to say, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please, be careful out there. Just really have a great time exploring outside, but also have a moment to make sure that you guys in well air conditioning parts of your home, wherever that's that being, because it is warm. It's quite hot outside, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday, it was Monday. It was a spectacular Monday. We were just outside working, and it was hot. It was in the 90s, Hope and audience. It was really hot out there, So I do say to a lot of people, please stay cool and collected. It's getting quite warm. I got to say thank you guys for staying tuned for this weekend's content. Kennedy Lucas Live Mindset Podcasts, available on all audio platforms you get your podcast from. Of course, that show have received. I'm toying with the microphone too because I'm looking at the levels, make sure that I'm not screaming at y'all. So when it comes down to it, ladies and gentlemen, Kennedy Lucas Live Mindset Podcast, we have a new home for that show. We got picked up with iHeartMedia. As you guys know, I said it on that show too, Hope, that iHeartMedia has been our partners for years now. And I'm just happy that they're continuing to help us, get our show out there and to really get it going. That show it's no theme of that show. It's nothing. That show is amazing, but there's no theme for the show, right? It's just me turning on the camera, me talking in front of the camera, doing my exercises. I try to diversify the workout exercises that I'm doing, but I'm also, out there doing my thing and just working out for you guys and just kind of talking in front of the camera and give you guys just juicy conversations to talk about. So there's not really a theme for the show. There's not really a theme or a specific purpose, but it's just to help get you guys content out there for us, but also to just have a great time. And I actually did get word from one of the trainers at Duluth yesterday. I went there, had the time to go all the way over to Duluth, and they're seeing the content, and one of the trainers said, "Hey, I love what you're doing. I love the show. I watched it. It was really cool." And it's something excuse me, it's something a little different. It's something a little different. And she asked me, why am I doing it? What's the purpose? Is it just like a podcast? Like, yes, it's just like this podcast that we're doing this morning, right? It's in a different environment. It's me being mic'd up, and it's me having a great time working out and just having a great time doing it. And it's not for clout. It's not for viewers. I'm not trying to go Instagram famous. I'm not trying to make TikTok famous. I'm not trying to, although if Crunch Corporate, if they want to work with me, they can. It's not for a specific reason. It's not a promo ad. It's just something I enjoy doing as a content creator, something I enjoy doing as a radio personality and a podcast host and a broadcaster. So I like doing it. So I want to say to everybody, thank you so very much for just, engaging, right? You guys can comment on the comment box on this episode or on that episode. If you want me to talk about a specific thing, by all means, just let me know, and we're able to talk about it, So I genuinely enjoy it, and iHeartMedia will be our official partners for that show. We're going to try to do every episode every weekend. I know some weekends I'm going to skim out, right? I've been skimming out on my podcast shows. Finally back. I got my voice back, right? I'm not coughing as much. My thyroid had calmed down since the last 2 weeks, finally. So I'm very, very excited to be back and to have a conversation with y'all and just to have a great, great talk. I'm really, really excited for this episode because I've got some juicy things that I want to talk about here today. But I do want to give a shout out to Kennedy Lucas Films and K.L.P. Entertainment Filmworks simply because, Dear Isaiah, my latest new documentary that is streaming on Apple TV and YouTube TV today, we are going to the Bronze Lens Film Festival here in Atlanta. I'm very, very excited. The festival will start, I think, late August, so we still got a little bit of time before we get down to the festival, but I'm really, really happy about it. I'm a stoic. I am blessed. I'm highly favored. I'm just so happy that, that film is doing really, really well in numbers, is doing really, really well. People are watching it for Apple TV and YouTube TV. And also in September, late September, we're going to have a new streaming service to be streaming the movie. I won't announce that yet because I'm going to wait until we get closer to that date, but I'm very, very happy about it. And just that movie has been extraordinary. It's been very, very fun to do, and just to see that the movie is still doing good. It came out my birthday, May 12th, right? And the movie is still doing good. So again, guys, check it out. Dear Isaiah, available streaming right now on Apple TV and YouTube TV. So again, we have a packed show here today. We've got John and Hope and so many other podcasters here in the studio to give their stories as well. So we got and Marcus and Emma, they're back too. So I'm very, very excited for this. Coffee Talk, if you're just now joining us, this is Coffee Talk in the Morning presented by Spotify. Tuesday, a wonderful Tuesday. Spain has won the World Cup against Argentina. I got to send my shout out to Spain. First and foremost, I'm going to send my shout out to both teams for getting this close into the World Cup. Again, if you guys know, the World Cup has been going on for a few weeks now, right? I've seen it everywhere, in the gym, in restaurants, at home, social media. A lot of people have been dabbling and have been watching the World Cup. I only watch like little moments of the World Cup. I can't tell you that I've watched the entirety of the World Cup, and I root for teams like Argentina, Spain. I was rooting for South Africa. I was rooting for Brazil, right? Those places, those countries, Ireland, England, those countries, they really specify the game of soccer, right? I am a proud U.S. citizen. I'll say that on the show. I just wasn't rooting for U.S. to win the World Cup. I mean, we're okay, but we're just not as great as Brazil or Spain or Argentina, right? In my humble opinion, right? That's just my humble opinion. So very, very excited for Spain to win the World Cup. Very, very exciting when it comes down to those two teams. I know Messi, even though he played for Miami, he's also rooting for Argentina. He's from Argentina, right? So that's his home country. So of course, obviously, he's going to compete in his home country. He shed a tear. Lionel Messi, he shed a tear, right? I was very sad for him because, he's a good soccer player. He's been winning the World Cup for some years now. He's become this elite soccer player, and to see that he did not win this World Cup this year, it's not to say that he won't train for the next World Cup when it comes back around, but I'm really excited for Spain because I really love the country of Spain. I haven't been to Spain yet. I want to one day, probably when my birthday. I'm turning 31 next year, right? So I might be going to Spain for my birthday. I don't know, but I really love the Spaniard culture. Let me tell you something. When I was in college, I did sports production, as you guys may know, and we had a lot of college soccer players, men and women, coming from Spain, right? Some came from Barcelona, some came from the outskirts of Spain, and to see them play soccer, they really had a great time playing soccer, right, at GGC. So I get very excited when I see Spaniards come and they showcase their talents, and they really knocked it out of the park. So I just got to say congratulations to Spain, the home country of Spain, for winning the World Cup. I can't wait to see what happens the next go round with the World Cup. I do wish that the World Cup, production wise, and I get it, right? We on K.L.P. Entertainment, we got to fill the ads too, ladies and gentlemen. But I just wasn't really feeling the World Cup having so much ads, right? It was a lot of ads going around when it came down to it. The ads that are coming around and they're trying to sell you on things. I get it. Business is business. You got to sell it. But it's a lot of ads that were going on into the World Cup production wise. So just one of those things that I noticed. It's just every second you go, there is an ad. There's an ad for this. There's an ad for that. So ads everywhere, I gotta say. But congratulations to Spain for sure. Oh, okay. So I did say to you guys a week ago when I came back from the thyroid issue that I had, when I came back, I was able to. I told you guys that I was going to play Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resync in one of these weekends, and I was going to give you guys a thorough review. Now, I can't give you a full review because I haven't finished the game. Right, the game just came out. I gotta say, Ubisoft has done something right when it comes down to this game remake. Now, if you guys know, Assassin's Creed Black Flag was a game that came out in 2013 originally for the last generation consoles. And now Ubisoft has remade this game sort of from the ground up, of course, enhancing the technology fields, enhancing the characters, and enhancing the storyline, right? And now we get a fresh perspective of this game. And you're playing Edward Kenway, and you're Edward Kenway again because you played Edward Kenway in the last game in 2013. Fast forward years later, you're playing Edward Kenway again, but in a new reimagined version of that character. And I just gotta say, I love it. I played it over this past weekend and I had a blast. I like the mechanics. I've liked the graphical style, the performance mode, 60 frames per second. You guys know how you do. You know how I do it on video games. I'm always going to have a point where I'm going to drive home performance mode at 60 frames per second. So when it comes down to that game, it was quite amazing to play through Edward Kenway again and to go through Nassau and go through the seas and to become a pirate. And let me tell you, shifting in through your lockjaw, that's the name of Kenway's ship. Going through the oceans, it has been smooth. Battling between ship and ship has been very smooth. And you know, it's now I did notice there were some pop-ins, right? There was a scene where they found the ship, and of course he had his right-hand man, quartermaster, and like the boat wheel kind of moves away from frame and it disappears. So you had Edward Kenway driving the ship doing this, and like the wheel will come back into frame smoothly and correctly. I thought it was funny, right? I didn't really catch it on camera, right? But I thought it was funny when it happened. I was in my living room. I'm like, whoa. Games are not perfect, right? Video games are not perfect. But when it comes down to it, I didn't really fret too much about it, right? You're going to have some bugs, right? I think there's going to be something when the game is going to have some updates. They're going to fix those type of bugs. But I think that is the game that you didn't really experience so much of headache, right? I've experienced this game and I genuinely enjoy it. I didn't see that many bugs. I have seen bugs, right? I've seen some bugs, but I haven't seen that much to where it warrants that. Again, the game was essentially free for me. I didn't pay for it, so I was able to get a hookup. But it is available right now on PlayStation, and I think it's on Xbox. I don't know yet. I'm not sure on Xbox. I haven't been playing Xbox for a while because I've been playing PlayStation 5. I think this is the beginning for Ubisoft, right? I think Ubisoft has made a lot of money from this. Right, I think some people might have skipped this game, rightfully so. If you skipped it, I understand it. You played it before, you know the lingo. But if you revisit it, I think Ubisoft, they're doing something kind of cool. I want to see them make more remakes. Maybe if they make more remakes, don't have them for $50, $60 a pop, right? But I think they redid Black Flag because that's like the highest rated Assassin's Creed game, the highest voted Assassin's Creed game that people like. But they also are testing the waters to see if people like these remakes, right? Because I do see Assassin's Creed Syndicate resynced, or Assassin's Creed Unity resynced, or my favorite, Assassin's Creed 3 is my favorite, Assassin's Creed 3 resynced, right? The sky's the limit when it comes down to it. They're probably going to go back to that and say, okay, well, Black Flag resync worked and we made a lot of money from this, so we might need to do this again, right? Because Ubisoft is trying to make a comeback, right? Ubisoft, over the last few years, Ubisoft hasn't made the great strides when it comes down to their games, right? They haven't, right? In the last few years, it's been lackluster. So now Ubisoft, or Ubisoft, however you want to say it, they're trying to make the comeback into the gaming field. I'm here for it. Like I say, I like it. If you've got the $50 that you want to spare on that, then by all means. I do think a lot of people, I do think that people might skip this game, right? And if you skip it, you skip it. I understand it. But it's one of those things that it does happen. So shout out to Ubisoft for giving us something fun to play for this month of July. I think my video game buying or playing will be at a halt until September, right? Because you got Wolverine. I saw the latest trailer for Wolverine. That's getting ready to come out in September. That's going to be the headway of September when it comes down to the games. Of course, I know Splatoon Raiders is getting ready to come out, I think in the next few days. I think I got to see the reviews first, right? Because I've never played a Splatoon game. I never played none of the Splatoon games on Switch, but I think I want to look at it, see what the reviews are, and if the reviews are good, then I might pick it up. Because Star Fox came out, I'm kind of bored of Star Fox already. I hate to say that because I beat the game thoroughly, so I'm kind of bored with Star Fox. I wish they gave us more missions, more things to do in the game. The game's good now. Don't get me wrong. It's just like, okay, it came out. I played it. I beat through all the levels. I'm kind of bored already. So I'm looking for something new to play for Switch. So comment below if you like Splatoon Raiders when it gets ready to come out. If it's a good review, I might pick it up. If it had lackluster reviews, I might wait until it goes on sale. Because these games, eventually, these games will go on sale. Eventually. Okay, so I'm shifting gears here, ladies and gentlemen. I do say to a lot of people, we hope that everyone is staying safe. The stomach virus is going around. I do say to a lot of people, do watch what you eat because the stomach virus is going down. I do say, excuse me, to a lot of people, it might be in the lettuce, it might be in your produce, right? I went to the store the other day, and a lot of people were not picking up salads lately and spinaches. I did pick up a spinach, and I watched carefully for it. I'm fine now after eating spinach 3 days ago, so I don't have any knock on wood, have anything wrong. But a lot of people are watching what they're eating because that stomach virus is something serious. It's supposed to be having to where you have explosive diarrhea. And that is not fun. That is something you don't want. But I say that to say that the FDA, that is the Food Drug Administration, has issued an apology because Taylor Farms, that is a company that produced produce, obviously. Taylor Farms were in heat the last few days, and FDA said that there was a positive that the stomach virus, I can't pronounce the actual name of it, is coming from Taylor Farms produce company, and it's defamation, right? So FDA has issued an apology because it was a false accusation for Taylor Farms, and it damaged the company's image. Now, let me tell you something. FDA is hard because that's government funding. But if I was Taylor Farms, I would sue the FDA for defamation, right? Because it's business. It's nothing personal with me and government-run agencies and administrations. But it is sad when you have a government-run agency that is causing a false accusation on your company. That's defamation. And it sheds a negative light to your company. And it allows people to not buy from your company because people are going to believe the FDA, right? People believe the FDA, people believe the CDA, people believe the Federal Exchange, the FEC. I think that's the acronym for that one, right? People believe these agencies, right? Because you've got a rule of scientists and professionals who study these things and study these things to a T for the American public. So when you have a false allegation like that, right, that really sheds a light, that really gets you down, that really allows people to not want to buy from your company. Now, like I say, I wouldn't be surprised if the headlines go that Taylor Farms has lawyers and they're suing the FDA for $20 million. I just brought up a number. I don't know if they're going to sue them for that much. Maybe, I don't know. But that's defamation. And I think a lot of these agencies, they're being very, very careful now of how they're shedding their accusations, right? Because when you have an accusation out there on social media, it travels. And what you say on social media, it's there forever. I think the FDA has to watch out. I get it. It's a lot of people, and I will say, FDA, the World Health Organization, the Federal Trade Commission, right? The CDA, right? All of these federal government agencies that look out for this stuff, they have to watch it. They have to be careful because people like me believe in these things, right? I believe in the World Health Organization. I know that's a little political, right? But that's why I think those organizations matter, right? Because we all remember the COVID year. No one didn't want to listen to WHO, but when WHO said COVID was happening, no one believed it. And now look, we went through a pandemic and no one listened. So I just say that, just say FDA, you guys have to be careful with this virus, right? Because you don't want defamation. You don't want a lawsuit coming. Because it does happen when it comes down to it. It does happen. So I just got to say, it's going to make your stomach turn, right? It's going to make your stomach turn for, the absolute worst, right? So, I'm going to shift gears here in my last topic here on the show this morning. I wanted to talk about this because this is something that has been brewing on TikTok. I've been seeing, I watch TikTok when I have the free time, and, my feed comes up about Gen Z, and I'm here to talk about Gen Z just a little bit, right? Not in a negative light, right? I don't want to talk about Gen Z in a negative light, right? Because they get enough. They get enough hate from us millennials. Yes, I am a millennial. I say that I'm a millennial, and Evelyn, shout out to her. She caught me on What Had Happened Was podcast. New episodes coming soon. But I am born in 1996, right? I was born May 12th, 1996. So I am of the age of 30. I'm 30 years old today. 30 years young. So I'm on the cusp of millennial and just about to itch over to Gen Z, but I don't claim Gen Z because I like to claim millennial because I'm 30. Excuse me. This is where the coffee comes in. See, that's that millennial. Because when you're a millennial, you cough like crazy. Anyway, so I'm on the cusp. I'm on the cusp of millennial. I'm hanging on by a thread, right? Because I'm born in 1996. So I don't claim Gen Z because, number one, I wasn't born in the early 2000s. And I'm young, but I'm old, right? I like to say I'm young because 30 years is rarely, really, really, really young. But I'm old enough to understand a lot of things. And there's been this topic of conversation about professionalism in Gen Z, right? Throughout TikTok, I've seen a lot of millennials pick on Gen Z people because they may not know professional skills, right? Customer service. And I will say that to say, I do agree with the millennials when they say that customer service ain't what it used to be. I'm a firm believer in that because I've come from a customer service background. I still sort of inhabit my customer service background, but I don't do so much of it because I work at a higher education institution. So yes, I have customer service skills and I emulate that, but not as much as I used to. Let's say 5 years ago when I worked in hospitality, I used to do a lot of customer service, obviously with hospitality. I shifted away from hospitality years later, and now I'm in higher ed now. So I understand when millennials say that customer service is not the greatest anymore. It could have been because of the pandemic. It could have been because of the economy. It could have been because people are depressed. It could be a multitude of a lot of things, ladies and gentlemen, and hope. Right? So I will say that customer service ain't what it used to be. I also seen it as of late too, that Gen Z people, when they're working, whether it's at a grocery store, at a restaurant, or a customer service based type of job, I don't see the professionalism that I grew up doing or I learned. But I learned to be empathetic, right? Because I got to say that Gen Z, you guys are going to be in the rough of it, right? Millennials were struggling a little bit, but Gen Z, you guys are in a different caliber. And I feel very sad for them because the economy, I will say that, the economy won't be the same as it used to be 5-6 years ago. Maybe even 7 years ago. It won't be the same. Whoever's telling you that's going to go back to normal, it will not. I'm optimistic that it probably would, but just right now, it's just not kicking it right now. So I think we got to give Gen Z a little bit of grace. For me, I like to give Gen Z a little bit of grace because, again, they're working the hard jobs, whether it's customer service, restaurants, bartending, hotels, baristas, right? Fitness trainers. Those type of jobs, unfortunately, they're not paying a whole lot. They're not, right? Some of these Gen Zers, they got to work these jobs and then some just to pay rent. They don't get paid enough. With the bullshit they got to go through with us customers, they do not get paid enough. And with those type of jobs, unfortunately, they probably will never get paid enough. And I don't mean that as a mean way. I just mean that those jobs don't pay well. Right? Some of these Gen Zers that I've seen, they've got 2 or 3 jobs just to cover bills. Right? Because that's just what they got to do in today's climax. Plus going to school. Now, I will say to a lot of Gen Zers, honestly, in my opinion, I do think education is important. I've been saying it on this podcast that once you have a degree, it gets you in those rooms of grown man and grown woman conversations when monies need to be made. It puts you in those rooms when you got those educations. I'm a firm believer in that, and I'm a testament of that. I have a testimony for that. I also believe that some Gen Zers, if they're not feeling college, they don't want to go to college, they don't have to. I understand that point too. I'm on the education field, right? If you're blessed enough to, if you want to take the loans and pay it back, sure, that's a sticky, slippery slope. Or if you got family that's going to pay your way through school, by all means, right? A lot of people are going to school while working these 3 jobs. It's hard. I also do think Gen Z too, and hopefully I'm not contradicting myself, they're lacking the professionalism skills because they're not teaching these things in high school, not as much. They're not teaching these things, right? I've seen it on TikTok, some content creators, they're talking about they're interviewing these Gen Z people that pull up in their interview wearing sweats. As many interviews that I've had for jobs, I'm wearing a full suit. Maybe not a tuxedo, but I'm wearing a full button-up shirt, jacket, slacks, my dress shoes, black socks, black underwear, and having maybe a nice little watch on. That's it. Hair is cut, faded. I know I need a haircut now. Hair is cut and faded. My beard is trimmed. My face is clean. I'm showing up for a job interview. Have I seen Gen Z people walking their interview not dressed casually? Yes. I do say to a lot of Gen Zers, if you are interviewing for a job or a position that it's hard to get an interview, you might we're in this climax, you might get the interview, you might do swell in your interview and you are the perfect candidate, but you may not get picked. I understand that point, but you got to show up. A lot of Gen Z people, they're not showing up to these interviews being business casual. And I think that's what's lacking because they think it's not important anymore. Right? To where people show up in cargo shorts or sweatpants and a hoodie. I'm still a firm believer in wearing a suit. My men out there, I'm sorry, I'm going to be one of those millennials. Cut your hair. I think the dreadlocks and the dreads for young men, that is played out. Right? And if it's a part of your religion and culture, that's another thing. But if it's not and you just rocking it because you're trying to look cool, cut that shit off. You best believe if I got an interview coming up, I'm going to hit up my boy Byron. Shout out to you, Byron. Hey, I need a haircut because I got a big interview coming up. You best believe it every time. Guys, wash your face. Clean your body. Wash your ass. Right? Because I've seen it. A lot of these young kids out there, they don't be close like that. But I smell ass. Like, wash your ass. Take a shower. Because that stuff matters. And even if you're, like, for Gen Zers, if you do have that job, be professional. Rock the uniform. If you got a uniform, rock the uniform. If you don't have a dress code, for me, I'm wearing a nice shirt, maybe some slacks, maybe some nice jeans, right? Some nice shoes, and I'm looking presentable. Now, at my job, at a few jobs, actually, we do this thing called Casual Fridays, right? On Friday, we get to kind of bust down a little bit. That's the job culture, Casual Friday. That's just something, But on typical work days that I'm out and about, I'm dressing casual. right? These are the things that I think Gen Z is missing when it comes down to professionalism. And that's why you don't see that as much anymore. You don't. It is just unfortunate. I do think it matters. I think it goes a long, long, long way. I do say to us millennials, let's give these Gen Z people grace. Every time that I am out and about, whether I'm grocery shopping or I'm at the gym or I'm out at a restaurant, I give Gen Z grace, right? If they're rude to me, I think that's unacceptable. I might pull them aside and teach them a lesson, not a harsh lesson, but like, hey, that's not how you do it, or you go to the manager. But I don't make it a big deal. I'm not going to lose sleep at night, right? I think it sucks that we have to give them grace when it comes down to that point. But you guys got to remember, they don't get paid enough. They don't. Most of the Gen Z people still live with their parents because they don't get paid enough. For me, I like to give Gen Z people grace if they're serving me because I know what I'm going home to. And I don't mean shit talk, but I go home to a nice clean bed. I go home to a house that I am paying for by myself, right? I'm going home to my peace and my tranquility by myself. And by the grace of God, I'm able to afford. I'm able to get in my car and not have to worry about a car note or make sure that I'm not behind on something, right? And a little bonus too, if I'm not riding my car, I'm riding my motorcycle, right? I'm blessed to have these things. It's not just me. I'm not bragging on the show, but I know what I go home to. So it's not the end of the world when I try to go out and show Gen Z people that are working hard for peanuts. It's not shit talk, but they work hard for peanuts. I try to give them as much grace as I can. And if I have a Gen Z that is hosting me at a restaurant, you best believe, damn it, I'm going to tip them well. Now, the tipping thing I've learned from my friend Mutzi. Shout out to you. And also tipping I learned from my mama, right? I learned tipping. I think tipping is very important. If you don't tip your waitress or waiter, tip them if they did phenomenal. Now, if they got an attitude and they just don't want to serve you and they've been nasty to you, give them grace. You got to forgive them because in your heart, Jesus loves us all. Give them grace. But you don't have to tip them well if their customer service is not good, right? But I'm saying to the waiters and waitresses that I've seen so far, that I've been out and about in restaurants, I'm going to tip you well. Especially if you're going to a very nice restaurant, by the way. There's this restaurant down the street here in Atlanta. It's called Little Alley Steakhouse. Love that restaurant. I might go again. Ladies, if y'all want to look, I'm looking for a date. I might even go my damn self. But I go to Little Alley Steakhouse, right? And that's a very fancy restaurant. Good restaurant, but very fancy restaurant. I'm going to make sure I tip my waitress or waiter well. At Little Alley Steakhouse, because I took my mama for Mother's Day previously, there's a lot of Gen Z people that work in that restaurant. We had a Gen Z waitress that was waiting. She was so sweet. Made sure I tipped her well, because that's so important. So important. So I just got to say it, ladies and gentlemen. Like I say, let's Gen Z, let's get a little bit more professional. I know it's hard in this world. It's tricky. But also my millennials, let's give them grace. Let's give them grace. All right, so I'm gonna pass it up to Hope and Sean. You guys are here in the studio, and of course, I'll be back to close the show. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so here's something to think about. In Westeros, paranoia isn't just a state of mind; it's practically a survival skill. This week's episode of House of the Dragon proves that better than ever.
That's such a great way to put it. This episode was packed with tension, and it felt like every character was walking a tightrope. Where do you want to start?
Let's dive right into Rhaenyra, because she's the perfect example of what I'm talking about. She's clearly under siege from all sides, and while some of her fears are justified, others are starting to cloud her judgment. It's like she's so focused on the threats to her power that she's losing sight of everything else.
That's exactly it. Her obsession with Aemond is a great example. Yes, he's a threat. But by zeroing in on him, she's ignoring the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is chaos. Her council is in disarray. Her alliances are shaky, and her own family is falling apart. It's like she's stuck in this tunnel vision.
And that tunnel vision is dangerous. Take her relationship with Demon, for instance. He's out there rallying the gold cloaks, making these grand speeches about turning the 7 kingdoms into 9 kingdoms, or even the new Valyria. He's got this big, bold vision, but it's completely at odds with Rhaenyra's more fatalistic approach. She's questioning why the gods have abandoned her, while he's trying to reshape the world.
Right. And Demon's approach is so fascinating because it's both inspiring and reckless. That massacre at the Gold Cloaks headquarters was a brutal reminder that even he can't control everything. The bodies posed in that grotesque tableau, it was horrifying, but it also showed just how high the stakes are.
Exactly. And it's not just Demon and Rhaenyra who are feeling the pressure. Let's talk about Lord Ormond Hightower for a second. He wasn't front and center in this episode, but his influence was everywhere. The way he's pulling strings from the shadows, even mentoring Darren with those chilling tales of Maria Martell. It's like he's playing a game that no one else fully understands.
That scene with the Syvas game was so telling. Ormond was so focused on his shadow war and his coins with Darren's face on them that he didn't even care about losing the game. It's like he's saying, the real game is out there and I'm winning it. It's such a power move.
And then there's Aemond and Aegon, who are each dealing with their own demons in very different ways. Aemond's visions of Aegon dying and his belief that his family doesn't love him. It's heartbreaking. And then you have Aegon, who's convinced that he's the one who's been wronged. Their sibling rivalry is just so raw and messy.
It really is. Aemon being nursed back to health by Alice while grappling with these visions. It's such a vulnerable side of him. And then there's Aegon, who goes from helplessness to bloody viciousness when he kills Janos. It's like they're both spiraling, but in completely different directions.
And yet, you can't help but feel like they're on a collision course. Aemon swinging a sword again, Aegon reuniting with Tywin Lannister. It's all building up to something big. Speaking of big moments, how about Helena? She really stood out in this episode.
Helena was incredible. Her refusal to drink the abortifacient, her determination to escape the Red Keep with her daughter and unborn child, it was so powerful. She's caught between her mother's political realism and her own sense of agency, and she's not backing down.
And Alicent, as much as she frustrates me sometimes, really showed how far she's willing to go to protect her family. Drinking the potion herself, giving up the symbol of her faith, convincing Mysaria to keep her secrets. It's like she's sacrificing parts of herself piece by piece.
That's such a great point. Alicent is often painted as this cold, calculating figure. But here we see her making deeply personal sacrifices for her children. It's a reminder that even in a world as cutthroat as this, there's still room for love and loyalty, however complicated they may be.
And speaking of complicated relationships, let's circle back to Rhaenyra. Her inability to connect with her younger son Joffrey is so heartbreaking. She's so consumed by her own fears and guilt, especially over Jace's death, that she can't even bring herself to be there for her child.
It's tragic, really. And it's not just her personal relationships that are suffering. Her council is in complete chaos. Mysaria, Demon, and Rhaenyra are all at cross purposes, and it's clear that there's no unified strategy. Everyone has their own agenda.
Exactly. And that theological debate in the High Sept really highlighted the divide between Rhaenyra and Demon. Her faith in the gods as the reason for her queenship is so at odds with Demon's more pragmatic, almost visionary approach. It's like they're speaking different languages.
And yet, they're both struggling to hold things together in their own way. The stakes just keep getting higher, and you can feel the tension building with every scene. By the end of the episode, you're left wondering how much longer they can keep this up before everything comes crashing down.
That's the beauty of this show. It's not just about the battles and the dragons. It's about the people, their flaws, their ambitions, and their relationships. This episode was a perfect example of that. The performances, the writing, the pacing, it all came together so seamlessly.
It really was. And let's not forget about Vagar, the wild card that everyone is waiting for. The giant dragon feels like the one element holding everything in place. I can't wait to see what happens when he finally makes his presence known.
Same here. This season is firing on all cylinders, or dragons, as you said earlier. It's gripping, it's intense, and it's setting the stage for what promises to be an explosive second half of the season.
Absolutely. I think we're in for some major twists and turns in the episodes to come, and I, for one, am here for every second of it.
Me too. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for diving into this episode with me. It's always a pleasure.
The pleasure's all mine. Until next time.
Okay, so get this. Nearly 2 decades after the original Avatar, the last Airbender series wrapped up, we finally have a new movie. Avatar Aang, The Last Airbender. But instead of being a massive theatrical event, it's streaming on Paramount+. Doesn't that feel like a missed opportunity?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the original series was groundbreaking, and this movie was clearly designed to be a big screen spectacle. The visuals, the action, the scale, it all screams theater experience. But here we are watching it on our TVs, or worse, our phones.
Exactly. And it's not just about the visuals, though those are stunning. It's about the communal experience of seeing something like this in a packed theater. Imagine the energy of a room full of fans who've been waiting years for this. Instead, it's been reduced to just another streaming release.
That's such a good point. And the thing is, this wasn't always the plan. The movie was supposed to have a theatrical release, but then Paramount changed their minds. Add to that the fact that it leaked online months ago, and it feels like the movie never got the launch it deserved.
Right, and it's such a shame because the movie itself is really well done. It picks up a few years after the original series, with Aang now older and leading Republic City. He's still the only airbender, and the story explores the challenges of that responsibility. It's a natural progression for his character.
It really is. And the introduction of the Denied, this group of non-benders who feel marginalized, adds a layer of complexity to the story. It's such a timely theme, and it makes you think about power dynamics in a way that feels very relevant.
Definitely. And then there's Taga, this ancient airbender voiced by Dave Bautista. He's such an intriguing character, and Bautista brings a lot of emotional depth to the role. Taga's presence raises some big questions about the history of airbenders and the balance of power in the world.
That's what I love about the Avatar universe. It's always been about more than just action and adventure. It tackles these big philosophical questions in a way that's accessible, but still thought-provoking, and it sounds like this movie continues that tradition even if it doesn't go as deep as it could.
That's a fair assessment. The themes are there, but they're not fully explored. It feels like the movie is scratching the surface of something much bigger. But even so, the action scenes and the animation more than make up for any shortcomings in the plot. They're absolutely breathtaking.
Oh, for sure. The fight scenes are some of the best I've seen in an animated movie. They're dynamic, intense, and incredibly well choreographed. And the animation itself is just stunning. The level of detail is incredible, from the landscapes to the character designs.
and the voice cast deserves a lot of credit too. Eric Nam as Aang is fantastic. He really captures the essence of the character, even as an older version, and Steven Yeun as Fire Lord Zuko is another standout. He's both hilarious and commanding, which is a tough balance to strike.
I've heard great things about Yoon's performance. It's always a challenge to step into a role that's so iconic, but it sounds like he made it his own. And what about the rest of Team Avatar? How do they fit into the story?
They're there, but more in a supporting capacity. It's great to see them again, but they don't get as much focus as Aang. Katara, voiced by Jessica Matten, is probably the weakest link. Her performance feels a bit stilted at times, but Roman Zaragoza as Sokka and Dion Kwan as Toph do a solid job.
That's good to hear. And it's worth noting that most of the original voice cast was replaced to align with today's discussions about representation and authenticity. It's a commendable decision, even if it means some performances don't quite hit the mark.
Absolutely. And then there's Taika Waititi, who has a small role in the spirit world. Honestly, his scene feels a bit out of place. It's like it was added just to have a celebrity cameo, and it doesn't really add much to the story.
That's disappointing, but at least it's a minor issue. Overall, it sounds like the movie does a great job of capturing the spirit of the original series while also expanding on its world. It's just a shame that it didn't get the theatrical release it deserved.
It really is. This could have been a major event for fans, a chance to come together and celebrate the return of a beloved franchise. Instead, it's streaming alongside reality shows and reruns. It deserved so much more.
And yet, despite all the setbacks, it's still a gift to see these characters again and to revisit this world. Hopefully, this isn't the last we'll see of Team Avatar. Maybe next time they'll get the big screen treatment they deserve.
Here's hoping. And for anyone who hasn't watched it yet, I'd still recommend giving it a shot. Just maybe watch it on the biggest screen you can find at home.
Agreed. And with that, I think we've covered just about everything. Thanks for diving into this with me.
Anytime. It's always a pleasure to talk about something as special as Avatar. Until next time.
Hey, Marcus. I just got back from seeing Nolan's The Odyssey, and wow. Just wow.
Emma, it's funny you bring that up. I actually just caught it last night. I mean, Christopher Nolan tackling Homer's Odyssey, it sounds like almost too ambitious, right? But he pulled it off, didn't he? It's really pulling in spectacular reviews I saw. IGN gave it an 8 to 10, called it a must-watch cinematic experience.
Totally. Like, when I first heard about it, I thought, oh, okay, another adaptation. But this felt different. It didn't just feel like a retread. It felt really fresh. And for a big-budget movie, it just had this weight to it, you know? Like, it wasn't just spectacle for spectacle's sake.
Absolutely. It's not just a good time at the movies, which it totally is, but it's more. It really stands out as an example of a film where a large studio budget actually allowed for a singular artistic vision. That's pretty rare these days, wouldn't you say? Especially in a blockbuster. It gives you hope, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. I mean, it makes you think about what big budget filmmaking could be instead of, what it often is. It just felt so intentional from start to finish.
One of the things that immediately struck me, Emma, was the world building. I mean, Middle-earth, The Matrix, Star Wars. What do they have in common? They absorb you, right? They feel real. And Nolan, he achieved that with Homeric Greece in a way I didn't expect, even with the mythical monsters and, the slightly anachronistic costumes.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It had this incredible verisimilitude, like the article said. It's not realistic, but it feels real. And that's the thing. Like, you compare that to a lot of, let's be honest, superhero movies, where a lot of the humor comes from making fun of their own world building. It creates this cynical attitude. Why should I believe in, Eternia if the characters are saying it's crazy there's a green tiger, right?
Precisely. That flippancy, it just ruins the integrity of the setting. Nolan, on the other hand, presents this ancient world with a really subdued, naturalistic visual style. It allows for believability even when you've got sirens and cyclops. He uses real locations, plenty of extras. You can just tell they worked overtime to build this foundation.
Yeah, you really feel it. It's not just like a bunch of hyper-stylized sets or digital backdrops. It felt like a place where people actually lived and suffered, you know? And that sincerity, it just pulls you in completely. So, speaking of immersion, Marcus, the film's runtime is like pretty substantial, right? But it never felt unwieldy or anything. I remember reading how some movies just have long runtimes that aren't warranted, but this one, it earned every minute. It was truly epic in feel, not just in length.
Oh, absolutely. It fully takes advantage of its length, Emma. It luxuriates in the world and the story through layered flashbacks and really considered payoffs. That's key. It makes you feel the weight of Odysseus' journey, that absolute exhaustion of 2 decades away from home. It makes you empathize with him.
Yeah, you really do. And you know, the poem itself is episodic, right? But Nolan and his editor, Jennifer Lame, who honestly should get all the trophies, they managed to make all those episodes, like the Cyclops, the Sirens, going to Hades, feel like cascading events, not just a series of, oh, here's the next thing that happens. Each one kind of reverberated against the others.
Exactly. It's not easy to translate that grand episodic narrative in the film, a medium that typically values brevity. You could easily imagine people complaining it should have been a miniseries, but Nolan he gets the tone and rhythm of cinematic storytelling so well. That sense of scale, that epic scope. It's both ambitious and incredibly strategic. And this, Emma, kind of brings us to the core argument. Hollywood needs to let talented directors make the films they want to make. It sounds so simple, right? But we keep seeing studios dictate terms, churn out reheated IPs, and just mismanage franchises.
Totally. Yeah, the Odyssey is an ancient story, so it's not like peak originality. But Nolan's passion for the project, it just bleeds onto every inch of that IMAX screen. Can you say the same for, something like The Mandalorian and Grogu, which apparently fizzled out, or Supergirl, which got, ripped out of the director's hands?
Good point. It's just so frustrating to watch movies that actually feel directed become a once-in-a-while treat. Distinct creative choices and authorial intention, that's what makes a film more than just a collection of moving images. Nolan's reputation, the fact that your average person knows his name, it comes from constantly challenging himself, pushing boundaries.
Yeah, and it's not just about him, right? It's about all the talented people whose efforts are undermined by mercurial executives and micromanaged productions. But seeing the Odyssey proves that singular visions can still make it through the studio system intact. It's a luxury that really needs to be afforded to more than just a venerated feel. Speaking of that singular vision, Marcus, one of the things that stuck with me was the payoff. The article mentioned delayed gratification. And it's true. The anticipation for Odysseus' return, the reunion with Penelope and Telemachus, and the suitors getting their comeuppance, it was almost unbearable.
Right? But then when that climax hits, with Odysseus stringing that massive bow and then slaughtering the suitors, it's incredibly satisfying. It's one of the most satisfying sequences in Nolan's filmography, because as the article puts it, character and audience are completely in sync. You've been on this journey with him for so long, you want to see him take back his home.
Yeah, and that emotional connection, it just makes the whole thing resonate so much more deeply. It's not just a cool action scene, it's like the culmination of everything. It reminds you what a big budget film can do when it's really well crafted and takes its story seriously.
Absolutely. It's a powerful reminder that while we can appreciate the complexity of Odysseus' actions, ultimately, we just want to see that hero return home. That tension and release, it's masterful storytelling. It leaves you feeling like, okay, yeah, there's still light on those uncertain seas.
And that's going to wrap it up on our show here this morning. Coffee Talk powered and presented by Spotify. Coffee Talk in the morning. Thank you guys so very much for staying tuned to the show. Stay tuned because, again, I'm back in the studio. We're going to record more episodes of this show. And I got to say to my What Had Happened Was fans, please be patient with me and Evelyn. We are getting ready to record a few more episodes for this season, and we're actually getting ready to switch our set around. So we're getting a new set. So please be patient. I know everybody was looking forward to our episodes this week. We had to push it back because we had Evelyn. She was at her hometown filming a movie, right? And I've been in the studio. We're animating for Guardians. Look forward to Guardians behind the scenes because we're going to post that this week at some point. So we've been filming, right? We've been filming a lot of stuff, but we're coming back, and I promise you guys we'll be coming back for what had happened was very, very soon. So stay tuned with us as well as other shows that we have from K.L.P. Entertainment, Filmworks, and Kennedy Lucas Films. I want to thank my entire cast and crew for making this show possible. We love you guys. Stay safe. Stay swanky. Have a great day. We'll catch y'all in the next podcast episode. Until then, stay swanky. Peace.
We bringin' good energy.
This has been Coffee Talk, presented by Spotify. From our cast, we thank you for listening.
Yeah.